Freeman Health System officials talk safety when it comes to postpartum vaccines. Plus, we'll hear from a JOPLIN man who became one of the first in the state to cash in on Missouri's vaccine incentive program.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The winners in the first round of Missouri's COVID-19 vaccine drawing have been announced, and they include some in the Joplin area. This is KOAM News at 10. Although the Department of Health and Senior Services says they can't say for sure whether this has played a part in raising vaccine rates across the state, they have seen an increase in numbers.
We were doing about 7,000 doses each day throughout the state of Missouri. And about a week into the launch, that increased to about 13,000 to 14,000 doses per day. So not quite 50% increase, but almost.
The state health department says the next drawing of winners will occur later tonight. Freeman Health System says it's safe for new mothers to nurse their babies after getting the COVID vaccine. Health experts at a press briefing today said the vaccine should be offered to women during and after pregnancy. They say the vaccines have a proven safety record and the antibodies they offer can be passed down from mother to child in the womb and through breastfeeding. Freeman says it continues to see an increase in patients dealing with severe COVID symptoms. Another warm one, but relief may be on the way. Nick Kelly joining us.
We saw, if you want to call it technically, Chris, at least a little bit of relief from today. At least we were a little bit cooler compared to yesterday, but still kind of hot to top the afternoon out. After starting at 74, we did hit highs around 94 degrees once again this afternoon. That heat and humidity did result in a few random showers, maybe a random storm too, on the northwestern sides of Table Rock Lake, let's say around Cassville up to Monette, maybe a few around Mount Vernon and Miller in Lawrence County not too long ago. But most of us were dry throughout the day, dry this evening so far, and I don't see much else happening across the rest of the 4-state region. Pretty good idea of how the rest of the night is going to go. And thankfully, with mostly clear skies and a light breeze, we're seeing temperatures respond, thankfully, in the downward direction. Most of us bouncing between the mid-70s and lower 80s still, but I think everybody will drop off to about 73 first thing in the morning before we have to go back into some of the heat tomorrow. Highs near 92, of course, with maybe another random storm. We'll see if we can get a good break from this heat here in just a bit.
All right, Nick, thank you. Republican House lawmakers in Texas voted to approve a controversial voting rights bill. The bill bans drive-through and 24-hour voting, increases ID requirements for mail-in ballots, gives more powers to partisan poll watchers, and limits voter assistance. Republicans use claims of voter fraud to push for the bill that Democrats say will limit people's ability to vote. The evacuation efforts at Kabul's airport resumed after the ISIS-K attack that took the lives of 13 American service members and at least 170 Afghans. President Biden's national security team has told him another attack is likely, and in the next few days could be the most dangerous of the evacuation. Skylar Henry is at the White House.
Despite the threat of another terror attack, evacuation efforts press ahead at the Kabul airport.
The national security team the president met with this morning advised the president and vice president that another terror attack in Kabul is likely.
White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki was asked how President Biden planned to follow up on his vow of retribution for Thursday's attack.
I think he made clear yesterday that he does not want them to live on the earth anymore.
The group known as ISIS-K claimed responsibility for the attack that killed 13 American service members and at least 170 Afghans. According to a defense official, the single suicide bomb is estimated to have contained 25 pounds of high explosives. Just over 3 days remain before the deadline President Biden set to fully withdraw U.S. troops from Afghanistan. He says he's standing by that deadline even as the evacuation continues.
We've evacuated more than 12,000 additional people out of the airport in the last 24 hours. We will complete the mission.
Meanwhile, the Pentagon says the U.S., not the Taliban, remains in control of the airport.
They are not in charge of any of the gates, are not in charge of any of the airport operations. That is still under U.S. military control.
20-year-old Riley McCollum of Wyoming was one of the Marines killed in Thursday's bombing. He was just a baby nearly 2 decades ago during the September 11th attacks. Now McCollum's widow is due with their baby in just a few weeks. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
The State Department says the U.S. will continue its humanitarian commitment to Afghan people and work to ensure money does not go through the central government, now controlled by the Taliban. Tonight, the military struck back at the Islamic State, launching an airstrike against an Islamic State member in Afghanistan. The strike killed one individual, and spokesman Navy Captain William Urban said they knew of no civilian casualties. Americans slowed down their spending last month amid renewed coronavirus concerns. According to the Commerce Department, consumer spending rose 0.3% in July compared to a revised 1.1% increase in June. On the flip side, personal income levels jumped more than 1% last month. That's a look at our top stories and weather in the first 7 minutes of the KOAM News at 10. Still ahead, the organizer of Free Mom Hugs is in Joplin and will be a guest speaker at tomorrow's JOMO Pride Fest. You'll learn how she's using hugs to help both members of the gay community and their parents coming up. Pride Fest kicks off tomorrow in Joplin, but today, JOMO Pride welcomed SARA Cunningham, the founder of Free Mom Hugs, who will be one of Pride Fest's special guest speakers. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke to SARA to learn what Free Mom Hugs is all about.
SARA Cunningham and her organization Free Mom Hugs are on a mission to make sure LGBTQIA+ community members know they are loved and respected. And her journey started at home.
I do have a son who is gay. He officially came out when he was 21. I didn't take the news very well at all. It took some time to reconcile my faith, being a Christian woman, and getting educated on things like the history of human sexuality and science and evidence, and hearing from the gay community. And what I found is that so many have been alienated from their homes, from their church families, and from many parts of society.
SARA's enlightenment about the struggles of the LGBTQIA+ community have strengthened the bond she has with her son. And she is hoping she can guide parents in similar situations on a similar path, while also supporting members of the gay community. And this mom is doing it through hugs.
I stood with my son at the Oklahoma City Pride Festival in 2014, and then in 2015 I made a homemade button that said Free Mom Hugs. And with anyone who made eye contact with me, I would say, could I offer you a free mom hug? And the first hug I gave was to a beautiful young woman who said that it had been 4 years since she got a hug from her mother. And that's when I knew that hugs matter, and I whispered in her ear that, well, I'm a mom and here's a hug, and I'm not going to let go until you do.
That one hug has grown into an organization and movement that supports LGBTQIA+ members across the country. And JOMO Pride Fest organizers say they are thrilled to have SARA spreading her message of love and acceptance in Joplin.
We invited her out here because in this part of the country, there are a lot of people whose families aren't as accepting, and we want to put that message forward that we are a community that if your family isn't there for you, we'll be your family, Not all family is blood, and not all blood is family.
In Joplin, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
If you'd like to learn more about Free Mom Hugs and the resources it provides, we've put a link to their website in this article on KOAMNewsNow.com. Nick's going to be right back with the complete forecast, but first, we take time to honor a local veteran. Private First Class Billy McNeely, the Granby, Missouri native, served in the U.S. Marine Corps. We are proud to salute Private First Class Billy McNeely. He's tonight's 4-state hero.
Most of us kept quiet throughout our Friday as we got this weekend started. Always a good Friday in that regard, but we had to keep some of the heat and humidity in play once again. So it was another day where it might have looked nice from sunrise to sunset over Indigo Sky Casino and Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri. But as far as temperatures go, we stayed hot and humid, but at least a slight improvement compared to the mid-90s that we saw yesterday. We were actually hitting 95 yesterday. After dropping back to 75 this morning, at least the hottest we've gone was 93, 94 degrees. I know, a 1-degree drop, but slowly trending in the right direction as we go through the rest of the weekend and even the early next week, where we might squeeze out at least a few days where we can keep highs out of the 90s for a nice change of pace. For the time being, though, we kept things pretty quiet for much of the day. Partly sunny skies during the afternoon, but any heat and humidity that was strong enough to bubble up for any showers or storms. Maybe a couple little guys around Cassville, Table Rock Lake, Monette, Mount Vernon, Miller. That was about it. Everybody else stayed quite dry throughout the course of the evening, and that is still where we stand right now at 10:14 on this Friday night. 7th and Range line looking good, and Still a bit warm though. 83 degrees, feels like 87 though, with the dew point still near 70. And we picked up on another southeasterly breeze again. It was calm during the last hour, but even with that breeze picking up a bit, it's going to stay light throughout the night. Couple that with mostly clear skies, we're going to take temperatures that are sitting in the upper 70s to still some mid 80s out there. Not to mention some spots still feeling like the upper 80s with the humidity in play. These numbers are going to drop off eventually down to 73 before we get the rest of our Saturday morning underway. Other than maybe a few random showers around Table Rock Lake, there was not much else really to speak of throughout the course of the region. Maybe a couple of daytime heat and humidity driven storms around the St. Louis area. But this is what I'm focusing on as we head through, if I can say that correctly, for the next few days. This frontal boundary that'll sink slowly to the south, certainly for Sunday and Monday. That will happen as this upper level low forces the jet stream back to the south by Sunday and Monday. In the meantime, though, we're still on the hot side of the jet as we go into our Saturday. So that means, thankfully, we will have at least a mild start to our Saturday morning before we have to go back into some of the summer heat. Let's have mostly clear skies and a light south breeze throughout the night take us back to 73 degrees first thing in the morning, right as we get to sunrise. Throughout the rest of the morning and up until about the start of the afternoon, we'll keep skies mostly sunny, 88 by noon. And I'm thinking we'll stay a bit hot tomorrow, highs around 92 degrees, but like today, can't rule out maybe a random shower or storm or two. Most of us staying dry. And thankfully with that little downtick in temperatures, again, it's not going to feel so terrible outside. With the humidity though, it's still going to feel like maybe the mid to upper 90s, but that's certainly better than where we've been throughout much of this week. Let me take you to Sunday. We see that jet stream shift in. That'll bring the front in, scattered storms for Sunday and Monday, and this will keep highs in the 80s. Not too concerned about the impacts of Ida, which should make landfall along the Louisiana coast as potentially a Category 3 or 4 hurricane, but the winds from Ida will keep us near 89 on Sunday and 88 on Tuesday. However, that front lifts back north starting Tuesday. Other than the random storm on Tuesday, we'll have highs around 90. Then we go back underneath the ridge, Chris, and that will ultimately send us back into the mid-90s, especially by Thursday.
Certainly, it's one of those things, it's still summertime technically, and so, yeah. I mean, you can't expect something other than these temperatures, although it's nice when it cools off.
I know, like even maybe a short stint in the upper 80s for highs, that's still nice. I'll still take it.
Absolutely, and a few rain chances. I know the yards need a little bit of rain here soon.
We could use some of that too.
We certainly could. Nick, thank you so much. Well, Rodeo Miami kicked off today at the Miami Fairgrounds. The rodeo features events including bronco riding, team roping, barrels, ladies breakaway roping, and bull riding. Organizers say there are almost 400 people competing, making it one of the biggest rodeo events in the region. There's also a free kids area featuring roping demonstrations, roping dummies, barrel racing with stick horses, and other fun activities.
Just looking to be a great weekend. I think we're going to look out on weather. It's going to be a little hot. But as far as just overall, I think it's the first time in 12 years we've not battled rain. So we're pretty pleased with that.
The gates will open again tomorrow at 5 a.m. Nick and I are going to get out of here so we can turn it over to the sports department. We got a great set of Friday night football action straight ahead.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into week one of 4-State Friday Night. I'm KOAM Sports Director Jacob Leonard. Now, Kansas joins the party next week, but tonight is opening night for high school football in Missouri. And it's no surprise where we're starting the show, so let's go. Webb City hosting Joplin to kick off the season. Eagles try for their third straight win against the Cards. Webb City strikes first. Cade Wilson getting in from 8 yards out. 2-point conversion makes it 8-0 home team. Joplin answers late in the first, always right. Getting around the right side. Eagles cut it to 8-6 with that. And the Cards getting tricky here. Cole Vaden tosses it out to Wilson. Wilson pulls up, finds Eric Fitch. Great grab there. Dupree Jackson finishes the drive with a rushing score. It was a back and forth first half, always right, back to work. This time finds Hudson Moore over the middle. Wright's first passing touchdown of the season. Other end, Webb City gets the lead back to double digits. Cade Wilson, second score of the first half. Cardinals up 24-13. But here comes Joplin, under 20 seconds to half. Wright to Landon Atherton. Wright, 5 total touchdowns in this one, including 4 passing. The Eagles get a late field goal, 42 yards from Joseph Ibsen, and they did it again. Joplin gets by Webb City tonight, 41-40. Elsewhere in the COC, Battle of the Tigers here with Carthage opening the season at Ozark. Now, first play from scrimmage in the third quarter. Luke Gall breaks through, breaks a tackle. He's gone. 80-yard touchdown for the junior. He's all right. All Carthage. It's 42-0 at that point. Now, Ozark fumbles the ensuing kickoff, recovered by Carthage at the Ozark 13. Tigers quarterback Caden Cabance finishes the drive. He scored 4 times on the ground tonight. Carthage rolls by Ozark in this one, 49-14. The Carl Junction Bulldogs kick off the season at home tonight with a COC matchup against Willard. Now, Carl Junction, coming off a 6-6 season, they got a lot of new faces on the field this fall. And CJ trying to get back over 500 this season for the first time since 2017. Willard QB Tyler Janes making the first scoring play of the game. Willard on the board. Then Carl Junction's Kyler Perry, big time throw to Aiden Bard. Home team up 7-6. Really brought the energy for the Bulldogs after that. Janes, bad ball, gives up an interception to Arlen Wakefield. Carl Junction gets the ball back. Later, Perry takes it in with a clean look to the end zone. At that point, Carl Junction leads 19-6. CJ rolls for their first win at home tonight, 39-13. In the Big 8, the Nevada Tigers, big-time turnaround last season, winning 7 games after going winless in 2019. They got high expectations this year, beginning with a home date tonight against Logan Rogersville. The Tigers, they dropped 50 on their way to beating the Wildcats 52-31. Well, staying in the Big 8, these two teams have been really good the last few years. Mount Vernon and Cassville meeting in the season opener. Tonight it is Cassville starting with a shutout, beating the Mountaineers 27-0. With that, we're at our one and only break here on 4 State Friday night. When we come back, more out of the Big 8, plus the Neosho Wildcats play their first game under head coach Brandon Towdy. As we go to break, though, here are a few more scores from across the area. The McDonald County Mustangs were a pleasant surprise last season. The Mustangs went 5-5, picked up a win over Lamar, and finished as district runner-up in 2020. Tonight, McDonald County starts the season with a big one at home against my dad's Aurora Hound Dogs. McDonald County strikes first. Handoff here to Destin Dowd. 10-yard score. Mustangs lead 7-0. On into the second quarter now. Aurora gets a big play out of the backfield. Cole Rollman busting through and getting all the way to the end zone. The conversion after that gets Aurora within 14-10. Mustangs, though, get another one before the break. This time, Jared Moore crosses the goal line. Mustangs take the opener over Aurora 33-22. A new coach, new field for the Seneca Indians this year. Seneca opens against Marshfield in their first game under that guy, Cody Hilburn. Down by 7, Ethan Fritchie to Jackson Mars. Seneca's first touchdown of the year. Next quarter, Jackson Graham getting outside. Nice run here. At that point, Indians within 1. Then with just a few minutes left before half, it's Mars again. Bullies his way into the end zone. His second touchdown of the night. Indians have their first lead. Seneca holds on to give Coach Hilburn his first win, beating Marshfield 31-28. Couple more out of the Big 8 to get to here. East Newton opens with Reed Spring tonight. Patriots fall in this one 49-20. And in Monette, Cubs get started tonight with a home date against Hollister. Monette falls tonight 42-27. Cubs are on the road for the first time next week, facing Aurora. The Neosho Wildcats are in their first season under head coach Brandon Towdy. And Neosho had a bit of a rough season last year, finishing 0-10. The Wildcats open on the road tonight against Republic, hoping to begin a new era with their first win since 2019. Neosho with the ball, dropping back to pass. Juan Romero of Republic gets the strip sack. Tigers recover. Ball going the other way. Now Republic trying to capitalize. They drop back to pass. Ball batted not once but twice. Defensive lineman Caden White there for the pick. And after a stop, Tigers would finally put together a drive. Avery Moody powers forward for the first down. Then later in the same possession, Tigers going to Connor Sandridge, who cruises into the end zone almost untouched. Republic rolls by Neosho tonight. Final score 47-12. And that's our show tonight. If you missed anything, you can check out our highlights on the sports page at KOAMnewsnow.com. Also, be sure to join us right here next week for 4 State Friday night on KOAM and our first Press Box show of the year. That'll be on Fox 14 at 11 o'clock next Friday, and that one will have highlights and scores from all across the area, including Week 1 in Kansas. For now, though, thanks so much for staying up late with us. We're out of here. See you right back here next Friday.